Rightio Legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with a big banger. And so today we are starting from the start and we are doing 2.5, 3 hour video recaps of all the video updates I have done on Dezi Freeman since the start. So it saves you going back and watching them all. But a lot of people have been asking me to do this to make one whole video. It is absolutely impossible for me to do that. I mean, it's not, but that video would be almost 48 hours of straight watching time. So what I'm going to do is I am going to upload 10 episodes at a time. So every episode will be 10 episodes. And so this first one goes for just over 2.5 hours, and it is the very first 10 updates that I've done with the Dezi Freeman. So, you know, the arrests of the people in Paul Punker, the media saying that he was prime suspect number one in the Silk and Miller police shooting in the 1990s. And all of the updates, all of the evidence I have found has all been compiled into one. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. Rightio Legends, Chaos Chronicles. So I've been getting asked so much to do a video on Dezi Freeman. So, all right, let's get into it. So what do we know so far about Dezi Freeman? We know that at his Paul Punker property that the police say that they were administering a firearms prohibition order search. Now, take it from somebody who knows the law when it comes to firearms prohibition orders. I can promise you right now that the last thing the police want to do when they're going to search your place for firearms is give you the heads up and let you know that they are coming. So I just think that, you know, that fact alone is just stinks with me, and I don't get it, because there's no way. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would they give you a heads up and tell you that they're going to come and search your place for firearms because they think you're a firearms danger? It just defeats the whole purpose of doing it in the first place. And I can promise you they do not do that. So when you are on a firearms prohibition order, you actually can get your house searched, or wherever you are residing. Doesn't even matter if you're just staying there for a night. Wherever you are, that house can get searched 24/7 without a warrant, and they do not need a warrant at all. They can come and kick in all your doors if you've got it barricaded or whatever. Even if you've got it locked, they have permission to come and do that. And so I just think that it doesn't make sense that they would give somebody a heads up. Like, you can't tell me that, you know, hello, yeah, Dezi, it's the police, mate. We think you've got guns and you might be a danger to the community. Can you just wait there for a second, and we're gonna come in tomorrow, but don't hide any of your firearms or any of your bullets or anything like that. So also, you know, what he did is absolutely like abhorrent. He's ambushed police officers and taken 2 police officers' lives and shot another one. So I also don't understand why there was 7 police there and they weren't able to get this guy. So it's alleged he was in a bus at the time and knew that they were coming, but I just don't understand how that there was 7 people and they just weren't able to do anything. So yeah, once again, I am not a Dezi Freeman supporter. I just think that as time goes on, that this thing is just starting to stink more and more. And also, so because I've been getting asked to do a video on Dezi Freeman for a little while now, I've been trying to find. So they said they put out a story the other day saying that they were he had charges in the past for child SA offences. And so, you know, most of these things you can find online, but you can't find one newspaper article, one court article, anything about that. So I'm not saying that this guy isn't that, but I'm just saying it's a little bit convenient that the police are saying this now because they basically have to say something. But yeah, I just think that a lot of things that they're saying on in the media, and as we know, I've had my own trouble with the media, and they can use your story and then put their own narrative on it, and that's what they do. So you just don't know what to believe. So I guess it will be a watch and wait. I guess but yeah, I just think let me know what you guys think in the comment sections. Like, don't get me wrong. They're saying that they think that people are harboring this guy, like harboring a fugitive. Now, if this guy is as much of a bushman as he says he is, like he must be one hell of a bushman because there is 450 plus of the best police officers and military in our country looking for this guy right now, and you can't tell me that like they can't find this guy. So this is what I believe. I believe, is he being harbored? Is someone looking after him? I think just from my history and my past and what I know. So sometimes when I used to go on the run or whatever, I found that it was much easier hiding from the police when you were right in front of them. Now, what do I mean by that? So, like people, usually go into state or at least move 5 towns away, But I found in my life, now obviously my situation is a lot different than Desi's, but I have been Australia's most wanted before and I have been on Crime Stoppers. So, I know what it's like. And I found that it is definitely much easier to hide from them when you're basically right under their nose. And also, it's the last place they're going to be expecting to look for you as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would imagine that if he's a smart man, because I know that exact state forest where he is. I know that land. We used to do pig hunting in there. We used to go camping there so much when we were kids, and that area is my local area's like bush area. So I know what it's like. So it's just a very, very, very dense terrain, and you could literally someone could be standing 5 meters away from you and just have to lay down, and there is no way in hell that you are going to be able to see them. So they are like the scrub there is very, very thick, and it is very, very unforgiving. So and then it goes into pine plantations, but it is very, very, very thick, like Australian bushland. So, there's just bush everywhere, and it's very, very easy to hide in there. But I would imagine because they're saying they believe that, somebody is harboring him. Now, if he was smart, being, the person that he is, and I would imagine that he's got some other people around him. They say that he's a sovereign citizen. Now, even though these people don't call themselves sovereign citizens themselves. You can guarantee you that he's not doing this alone. And I would imagine that his friends, his other sovereign citizen friends, have got him well away from there. This isn't a situation where, hiding in plain sight is going to work. This is a situation where he has got every single state police force after him right now. So, his to stay there would just be absolutely stupid. Now, he would know this, like he's considered armed and dangerous as well. So, once you are considered armed and dangerous, that means the police have the right to use deadly force to take you out. And because he has taken 2 police officers' lives, you can guarantee you that when they do see him, that they are going to be shooting to take him out, to end it, finish it. He is a threat. He's proven that he is a threat to society, and more so by shooting at our emergency services, the police. These things makes him the worst threat that he can ever be. And so every single police officer and Australian Defence Force that's out there looking for Desi right now has a license to kill, literally. And so, even if he wasn't raising a gun at them, it wouldn't even matter. Like, I can promise you that I would imagine that he would be doing very well to get out of this whole scenario alive. And I just don't think that, I just don't think that, A, I don't think that he's there. B, I think he's probably getting help. And, you've got to understand, like, the army is the army. The police is one thing, but the army are trained specialists in looking for people, and they train in our own backyard. So, I just find it hard to believe that there's 450 plus soldiers and police personnel in and around that area, and they cannot find him. And so that's why I believe that very early on in the piece, he would have been taken out of there. And I would even imagine that having the connections that he does with this sovereign citizen thing, that there's a good chance that he's probably already in another country very, very close to our shoreline. So, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, or somewhere like that. Countries that you can access from a boat, and people do access those countries when they're on the run. I promise you that. I can give you my word on that. And you can on a good couple of days, you can get across those waters in just an average 18-foot boat, or even a little bit smaller. And so that's what I think. I think that he's long gone and he's well out of there. But yeah, I personally think that I'm not saying, like, definitely not taking Desi Freeman's side. And but yeah, I'm definitely saying that I think that the media are making a mockery of this by just printing whatever they can, as they do, to make headlines, because he is trending right now, and it's Australia wide news, so they've got to think of new stories to come up with every single day when absolutely nothing is happening. So they're just going off old stories and just printing absolute bullshit, as the newspapers do. I would imagine that somewhere in the future that newspapers are going to be null and void. I would think that podcasting and, social media is the way of the future for news, and people would much rather sit there and listen to somebody else speak about, the crimes or whatever, than read a newspaper. It's 2025, and millennials are just built different. And to think that millennials are going to be sitting down reading a newspaper is just bonkers. But yeah, there you go, guys. Desi Freeman. Let me know what you guys think. Where is Desi Freeman? And yeah, so his friend did issue a warning, and yeah, we're going to take a look at that. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Desi Freeman, where is the bugger? So yeah, where are you, Desi? But I imagine, all of his friends obviously live in that same area. I imagine that that guy was driven to safety very soon after that has all taken place. Now, once again, I am from that area. I know that bush pretty much, not like the back of my hand, but I know it well enough to be able to get dropped off in one area and be able to get to another area. And that's just from going through there as a child. If that guy lives around that area and all of his cohorts and supporters live around that area, yeah, mate, that guy is 100% long gone. I really honestly believe that. And yeah, I also hope that if Desi Freeman is a SA offender, that they find you alive, because then the real justice will get done behind the prison walls. But not for a very long time, because you will be in the slot for a very long time. So I would imagine that that guy is going to spend the first 5 years of his rest of his life sentence. So now, there is new laws in Australia that if you take a police officer's life, that you are never getting out. That's life parole. So it used to be, if you take a police officer's life, they're going to give you 35 years. You know, the saying used to go, don't shoot at a police officer, it's 35 years bad luck. So that changed, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago. So even all people that are still alive that are in prison right now for killing police officers have to abide by this rule and will not be getting out. So he will never ever ever see the light of day again if they do catch him alive. And yeah, let's hope if they do that, and he is an SA offender, that the real justice gets done behind the prison walls. And yeah, you know, it's pretty horrible to see the funeral and stuff like that, and it's sad for the family. So yeah, sending a bit of love to the families out there. But yeah, there you go, guys. Dezi Freeman, and yeah, where is Dezi Freeman? Well, he is gone. That's what I honestly believe, that he is long gone. And like I also said, that if he is not long gone, he is so deep in a mine that you're never ever going to be able to find. So some of these mines, so people have lived up there their whole life and find mines all the time. This is how common it was. So that area is the start of the Golden Triangle. So gold mining is very, very big and was massive up in those areas. So there's that many gold mines, and yeah, if he is in a gold mine, they're going to be out there for a very much, like for much much longer, you know. And yeah, like how are you eating, Desi? You know, that's why I think that he's you know, he's gone from the bush, because if he was living on the land, you know, unless he's like knifing pigs like we used to and not using guns, but still, it takes dogs and everything to do that. You can do it without dogs, but still, it is very loud when a pig's going off, when you're trying to, you know, take it out. It makes a lot of noise and would attract a lot of attention. Obviously, he can't use any of the guns that he's got, the guns that he stole off the police, because that's just going to cause way too much attention. So yeah, that's what I honestly believe. I believe that Desi is out of there, and long gone by now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. That's what I absolutely think. And yeah, if you guys haven't already, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription. And if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. And yeah, we do have paid memberships available as well, guys, where I do drop members only content. And yeah, they're not for everyone because they are paid memberships, but you do get to see videos that only you as the paid members get to see. So yeah, and we do also have a Discord available, guys. The link is in my channel page. It's where we all hang out, chat. You can share videos, share photos, and yeah, it's just where we all hang out and chat. But yeah, guys, as always, don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. Legends, Chaos Chronicles. So this is kind of a Dezi Freeman part 2. So I've come across some very, very interesting information today. So Dezi Freeman, so as we all know, the Australian Defence Force, or the Army, has been deployed to try and find Dezi, right? So there is this clause which is called the number 3 AAA clause. And so this is a law that they introduced in the year 2000, just before the Sydney Olympics, where the Australian Defence Force can be deployed to help out in civilian acts of, like, things such as terror, riots, and just unrest, you know. But here's an absolute 100% fact. So this has never, ever happened. There has never been a time when the Australian Defence Force has been deployed to help out with a civilian problem like this. So, I mean, this means one of two things. If they have activated this number 3 AAA clause, so the Governor General, if this is the case, so this would be the first time in history that our Governor General has done this. And so Dezi Freeman would be the first person in history who has had this activated. So, but this also, like, one of two things has got to be going on here. So they've either activated that number 3 AAA clause, or they have deployed the Australian Defence Force illegally. Now, I'm not trying to start any conspiratorial bullshit, but this is the facts that I'm working with right now. And if you can go and find any time in history where the Australian Defence Force has been deployed for a situation like this, and yes, Dezi Freeman did take out 2 police officers, very, very sad. But this is still the first time that the Australian Defence Force has been deployed on a civil matter like this. So, a lot of people are saying today that the Australian Defence Force has been deployed illegally. So let me know what you guys think. I think that, yeah, they're probably doing the right thing, and I don't think that they would be deploying our Defence Force illegally. I just think that it's 2025. They know that people know these laws like the back of their hands, and they just wouldn't be doing any kind of, I mean, I guess it would be some kind of a war crime if they did deploy the Defence Force illegally. But yeah, there you go. Like, so, this number 3 AAA clause is, this is the first time, and Dezi Freeman would be, if they have activated this clause legally, he is the first person in history that this has happened to in Australia. So pretty big news, and it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm pretty sure that in time to come that we will find out on the news or whatever that the police and the Defence Force were deployed legally. But yeah, this is the first time in history that this has happened. So pretty full on. You can tell how serious they are taking this. But like, it's still blowing my mind right now that we are at, I don't know, it's over day 10, I know that much, and they still have no sight. They have no idea where he is. But you've got to understand also, so, I said in my video that I made yesterday that you could like just jump down and lay down on the floor and someone couldn't see you from 5 meters away. And a lot of people made comments, which are actually 100% true, that, you can't hide from thermal imaging cameras and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure that he'd be smart enough to know that they'd be out at night time with their helicopters with their thermal imaging activated. This is why I believe that, just because, like I also said yesterday, I know this area pretty well, and there's just that many unmarked mines there, and I would imagine that if he is still in the national forest where they think he is, that is definitely in this underground mine system there. And you better believe me, there are so many mines there. And so my father has been a gold prospector his whole life. And, I spoke to him again yesterday, and he said, yeah, there would be people around there that live so close to certain mines and wouldn't even know that they existed. So, but like I also said yesterday, if he was a smart man, he'd be well out of there by now. And I really think that, very early on in the piece, he probably got out of there pretty quick. And I would imagine, because if that was me and I knew that I had like the whole country looking for me, I think it would be pretty silly to just stay put and, just change your positioning every day. You're really dicing with death there. So this is why I think that he's got out of there pretty early, and he's probably out of the country, like I said, because that's what I would do if that was me. I would get out of that area 100% straight away and try and leave the country. And like I said yesterday, there are very close neighbouring islands that are not classed as Australia, and people like old Albie Mangles and stuff like that. He travelled across the Bass Strait in a 16-foot tinny, so it's not like it can't be done. So I would imagine that if Dezi has left the bush, that's what he's done. And I'm only saying that just because that's exactly what I would do. And so yeah, this clause is pretty full on, and like I said, this is the first time in Australian history, if they've done it the right way, that this has been activated. And like I said, so this is something that was introduced in the year 2000. So it was introduced prior to the Sydney Olympics. I'm sure all you guys know that the Olympics that happened in the year 2000 took place in Sydney. And obviously, this was pre 2001, before the world went crazy on terror attacks and stuff like that. But they made this law because I guess they were worried that if something happened at the Olympics, like it has happened before, where attacks have happened at the Olympics, so they introduced this law so the army can be introduced, so the police don't have to battle these things by themselves. And so, it's 2025, and until Dezi Freeman, it's talk. I don't know. I would imagine that a lot of this talk that's going on in the background, there's not much truth to it. But if they have done this, if they have done this illegally, then I'd imagine there would be some kind of trouble about it. But the truth is, I would imagine they wouldn't do it illegally. But this is definitely the first time that they have activated this number 3 AAA clause. And so if you want to look it up, I'll chuck a piece of information down here in the video as well. So if you guys want to have a read into it yourself. But yeah, it just blew my mind to know that, they're taking it very, very, very seriously. And yeah, where are you, Dezi Freeman?
Defence Force has been called in to help in the search for accused high country killer Dezi Freeman. They're desperate to find the fugitive before the fallen officers are laid to rest in the coming days. Here's Cassie Zervos in Popunka.
Not only are police working around the clock to catch the fugitive, but so too are members of the public.
So they have been there for 5 days too, the Defence Force at the Popunka area. 5 days.
Since last Tuesday, officers have received more than 100 tip-offs and leads, including from Freeman's associates. Today, a change in direction for investigators.
Even his own friends are starting to snitch on him. I reckon they're scared now that the army is involved. But are they doing this legally?
K's away from Popunka, heavily armed officers with their guns drawn started searching bushland near Ovens River. This property has been the focus, not because the owner knows Freeman, but because officers believe he could be hiding somewhere here. From the ground, police use drones to also have eyes in the sky. Uniformed officers have also cordoned off a property in town. We know police have been closing in on...
That's another thing what I don't understand. Like, they've got that many sniffer dogs out there. Surely, like, one dog's going to get onto a sniff of him or something. This is why, like, I don't know. This whole thing just stinks to high hell, if you ask me.
Freeman's circle of friends and supporters, arresting and charging this 61-year-old man on Friday. Victoria Police has also locked down the national park indefinitely until the alleged double murderer is found. Freeman's wife released a statement through her lawyer claiming she is supportive of Victoria Police. But senior officers revealed there is a big difference between cooperating and supporting investigators. On Friday, hundreds of grieving officers will attend the police academy for the funeral of Vadim DeVort. And then on Monday, members will say a final goodbye to Neil Thompson. He was supposed to retire last week. Instead, his family and friends continue to process the sudden and senseless loss of his life.
What we're focused on here is a criminal who's killed in cold blood 2 Victoria police officers. I do appeal to the person responsible to hand themselves in immediately. And
that's never going to happen. Like, this guy is never, ever, ever going to hand himself in.
Message to him is that your destiny is in your hands. Our resolve and determination grows by the day to bring this to a peaceful conclusion.
Even though it is day 9 of this manhunt, police have no plans of slowing down. In fact, it's quite the opposite. More officers will arrive in town from today to help in finding the fugitive.
Well, yeah, there you go. Like the Defence Force, they're in there. So yeah, like I said, this is the very first of its time, and if they're not doing this legally, well, then I'd imagine there would be some very serious backlash over this. So this is what I'm reading here. It says. Part 3 AAA exists and provides a legal way for ADF to assist domestic authorities, but it has never been used until possibly now. It says, if activated, this would be a monumentous first. If not, that raises concerns about legal authority and constitutional process. So that's what I'm going at here. So, if this is done the right way, well, then like I just read there, it's going to be a monumentous first. But if it's not, and they're doing it illegally, well, then I'd imagine that there would be some pretty serious backlash over this. And there's a lot of talk about this going on today in and around the internet. And yeah, you can also read something else that I'll chuck down here, which has come from defence.gov.au. So this is all stuff that you can read yourself and look into yourself. But yeah, this is like very, very serious. And like I said, if this is the first time the Governor General has done this, this is very big for it to happen, for something so like it is. And yeah, I just think it is absolutely just blowing my mind that something like this has activated this for the first time. But yeah, there you go, guys. Dezi Freeman, part 2. If you guys want to hear more about Dezi Freeman or more about Crime Victoria, that's what we do here at the Chaos Chronicles. So jump down there, shoot me a subscription, and if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. And as always, don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. Weird. New footage being released on actually how Dezi Freeman was living. Rightio legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're doing another Dezi Freeman update. So where are you, Dezi Freeman? Are you kicking back with Bigfoot like you just said? Who knows? So what's going on? Dezi Freeman, for those of you that don't know, you must have been living under a rock, but if you were living under that rock, so 21 days ago, Dezi Freeman is alleged to have taken the lives of 2 police officers while wounding another police officer, while 10 police officers have gone to his house to do some kind of a search to do with a firearms prohibition order. Now, this is like 50-50 whether if that's the truth or not, because they're also saying they were going there to investigate him on historic child sour graping charges. So, I mean, it's really hard to kind of gauge what's going on. But where are we at right now? So, so the authorities have lifted the travel restrictions from the Pawnpunka area, but the Mount Buffalo National Park still is closed, and so they're saying they have received over 1,100 tips since they have submitted the $1 million reward for finding Dezi Freeman, or is it Dezi Ned Kelly? So it is saying also that this search has been labelled Australia's largest ever tactical policing operation. More than 125 specialists from across Australia and New Zealand involved in recent sweeps. And also, as we know, it is one of the very first time that they've had to use this 3 AAA clause where the Australian Defence Force is used for a domestic issue. So this is the first time that has happened, where they have used the ADF for a domestic issue. And then, yeah, so, now there has been footage released of, like, photos released of moments before Dezi allegedly shot them. So what they're alleging is they were trying to get in there. He was locked in the caravan. There was a child in the annex with the police. So everyone else was locked in the caravan, and there was one of his children was outside where the police were. And so in those photos, you can see that they're trying to jimmy the door open with a crowbar. And that's when they say they entered the doors, and that's when he opened fired and had taken the lives of those two police officers and wounded the third. And so they also believe, so they are now saying that they believe that the public are actually helping Dezi Freeman, which is probably true. Like, if you ask me, Dezi Freeman is probably kicking back with Bigfoot somewhere, but nowhere on this bloody shoreline. I can tell you that right now. I reckon that Dezi Freeman was, as soon as that issue took place, and obviously the police retreated, as soon as he's realised that the police have retreated, he's called his other, sovereign citizen people, and they've come and they've got him. So, but they're also saying now that, it was reported that just before all of this had gone on, that they had revoked his firearms license. So, but I think it's just convenient for them to say now that his firearms license had been revoked prior to this. So, me being someone from that criminal world and someone that knows about firearms prohibition orders, if this guy did have a gun license and his gun license was revoked, I can promise you right now that the first place they would have gone the day that they revoked that gun license was straight to his house, straight to his gun locker, and taken all of his guns. That's why I'm saying there's a lot of stuff here that, is just not making sense. And, like it even says here, it says there is no public confirmation that Dezi Freeman has been arrested or surrendered. He remains still at large. It is not confirmed whether the Part 3 AAA of the Defence Act has been lawfully invoked in this case, if the ADF is operating under what legal authority. So, we really, there's no real updates. It's day 21 and there are hundreds and hundreds of people out there looking for him. And what I don't understand is they've got all this technology. So, like thermal imaging cameras and stuff like that. They've got canines out there looking for him and they're not picking up a scent, which tells you that, like, if you ask me, absolutely, Dezi Freeman is 100% bon voyage. So this is a reporter from the Daily Telegraph giving you, in her words, from the police mouths, exactly what happened at Dezi's door the day that the police's lives were taken. Let's have a look.
I'm Jonica Bray and I'm a senior reporter at the Daily Mail. I have seen the footage of where suspected killer Dezi Freeman ambushed and killed two police officers. I'm currently standing at the gates of his property here in Courtroom. While I can't show you the footage yet, I can tell you what's happened so far. 56-year-old Freeman was barricaded inside his bus in Courtroom, northeast of Melbourne, with his wife Marley and their 2-year-old son.
So a lot of people are saying that they won't release this footage, and I promise you they definitely will release this footage. If you remember last year when the other police officers' lives were taken in Queensland, that footage is now public, and that's why they have body cam footage, so it will be definitely made public.
10 officers arrived at his bus that day to execute a warrant for a historic child sex abuse allegation. In the video, Freeman flatly refused to open the door, and his voice shook with rage as officers, some in plain clothes and others in uniform, tried desperately to reason with him. "We have got a search warrant right here," one officer was heard saying. "Come out and have a look at it. Come out and talk to us, Des. We're not going away." From inside, Miss Freeman could be heard asking the officers not to enter the bus. "Can you please not barge in?" she said. "We have a search warrant," a second officer responded. "I have kids, please," Miss Freeman begged, her voice shaking. "Leave us alone, leave us alone," Freeman shouted. What followed was an extended back and forth with Freeman and several officers. Freeman demanded to see the warrant. claimed he had autism and post-traumatic stress disorder and insisted a disability liaison officer be present. Daily Mail understands Freeman has never been formally diagnosed with either condition. Freeman named various other police officers he wanted to attend as witnesses, and when the warrant was held up against the bus window, he snapped that it was not valid. "What is the search warrant for?" he demanded. Remaining calm, an officer pulled against the bus door with a crowbar. "We're just trying to do our job, Des. Come out and talk to us. We won't have to break in," he said. When told the warrant was related to a child sexual assault allegation, Freeman erupted. "Oh, for sake, what bull," he screamed, branding the police psychopaths and accusing them of terrorizing him. "You have been targeting me for 7 years," Freeman claimed.
So I have done some pretty extensive searching, and you cannot find anything on this guy under this name, Dezi Freeman, or Dezi Philby, which is his name before, having any kind of historic sex charges.
Before demanding to speak to the senior sergeant and commanding officer, he accused the police of trespassing and committing countless crimes. As the bus door was slowly jarred open, he shouted, "Tell your goons to stop breaking the door. This is domestic terrorism. Why did you join the police? So you can terrorize families?" At this point, 4 or 5 officers moved in and out of the makeshift kitchen attached to the bus. The other officers could be seen hanging back a few meters away. "Are you going to open the door, Des?" they asked again. Freeman's emotions became increasingly fraught. His voice rose and cracked, and he singled out an officer, blaming her for his long-running grievances with the force. Small hands, either Marley's or the child's, appeared through the gap in the door as officers continued to try and pry it open. Miss Freeman then told the officers she was coming out, but remained inside. It's unclear if she was able to open the door. Freeman continued to rail against the sexual assault allegations, but police said they didn't want to discuss the matter in front of his wife and child.
So, I mean, what were they there for? Were they there for this FPO, or were they there for these historic bloody charges? I don't get it. Like, the whole thing still stinks, if you ask me.
An officer told Freeman he was traumatizing his children, as his superior ordered another officer to stop using the crowbar. She once again took the warrant to the door and told Freeman to read it and urged him to just take a breath. But Freeman only spiraled further. He ranted about being a victim, called the country Communist Australia, and insisted the warrant was fake. Detective Thompson managed to force open a window. Miss Freeman cried, "Okay, we're coming out." But it was too late, and she was told to move back and stop hindering us. Detective Thompson grabbed the roof of the bus and hauled himself feet first inside the vehicle. Within seconds, 2 gunshots rang out and officers scattered in terror. Detective Thompson and Senior Constable Divart Hotart were both shot dead at point-blank range. The video then ended. A third officer would later be confirmed as seriously injured, but it is unclear when that shooting took place. Freeman took weapons from the deceased officers and then he fled into this alpine bush. About 450 officers and the Australian Defence Force continue to hunt for Freeman as the search enters its 3rd week.
Well, yeah, there you go. Bloody crazy. I mean, it's really hard. I just really just don't know what to believe. So, yeah, what do you all think? Like, absolutely, it's an absolute horrible, tragic, thing what's taken place here. There's no 2 ways about it. But, like, I just think that the amount of different stories that have been put out already, and, they were going there to do a firearms prohibition order warrant, or he had child sex offence, and that's what they were there for. I mean, and like I said, like I've done extensive searching. I know that people that are doing very extensive searching, like dark web style searching, and you cannot find any of this information. And so, like, I think it's just very coincidental. So yeah, let me know in the comments section what you all think. But I mean, yeah, there isn't any real updates to date. Like they're saying this is why the police and the authorities are saying it, why it's so hard. So it's rugged, complex terrain, caves, mine shafts, dense bushland, valleys, the weather and environment, bad weather, snow in some alpine regions, making access and visibility difficult. And then it also says, so the ABC News has said potential local assistance or harbouring. Police strongly suspect he is being helped by someone in the area. So, and this is what the ABC have reported on September the 3rd, 2025, that's what the police are saying. And I think, there's probably a fair bit of truth to that. I would imagine that, like I said earlier, that as soon as that guy realized that the officers that didn't get hurt retreated, that was his time to take off. And I 100% believe that this is the type of thing that someone with those ideals and beliefs would definitely have been planning this for a long time. Now, I'm not saying taking out cops and stuff like that, but he was a prepper, so this is, they plan for this type of thing. But yeah, let me know what you all think in the comment section, because like it's just getting really, really odd and suspect if you ask me. But yeah, anyway, guys, I have been the Chaos Chronicles. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section, because it's dodgy as. But as always, guys, yeah, thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. And if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. And as always, guys, don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. They found out that the same magistrate that Dezi Freeman was trying to arrest for treason, who I have now heard has lost his job. I can't find any proof of that. So this same judge, I actually had a court case going on last year where some major corruption was going on. And for a while, I didn't speak about Radio Legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today, I've got some pretty important updates on the Dezi Freeman case. But first, before we get into all of that, you need to read this tweet, what Donald Trump has written. So it says, yesterday, an annoying little weasel of a man interrupted my round of golf. He told me he was the Australian Prime Minister and then started rambling on about living in a housing commission, so I hung up on him. He later called me back and asked if he can come visit me in the Oval Office. He's not a smart man. In fact, he sounded retarded with a lisp. I will rip him and Ambassador Rudd a new asshole for being the most diversive and incompetent administration since Gough Whitlam. How can I do business or make a deal with someone who has never had a job, or will only do business with? I will only do business with Australia once they restore free speech, protect the Australian flag, and jail Dan Andrews for treason. So this is President Donald Trump writing that as his tweet yesterday. And so I think that it was important to say that before I go into my next bit. So I recently, only yesterday, found out that the same magistrate that Dezi Freeman was trying to arrest for treason, who I have now heard has lost his job. I can't find any proof of that. So this same judge, I actually had a court case going on last year where some major corruption was going on. And for a while, I didn't speak about it. And then I started to speak to you guys on YouTube about it. And you guys are saying, yeah, 100%, this is not right. So what had happened was, so this same judge, the same judge that Dezi Freeman was trying to arrest, used to be my solicitor back in the day. He was also a duty solicitor in Benalla, and so most people that had been through the Benalla court system had used this same judge as a duty solicitor. And so I actually, well, he was my solicitor, and he was actually my dad's solicitor, my brother's solicitor, and I also had, so my girlfriend at the time, she used to work there. She used to like just do certain days a week there, but her mum was a full-time clerk there. And so also, so this same judge, so before he was a judge and he was my solicitor, when my son passed away, he was at my son's funeral, right? So, and then come last year, 2024, I am going to court, and I go into the courthouse and I see that my old solicitor is the judge, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I say something straight away. I say, isn't this a conflict of interest? Like, surely you can't be my judge when you used to be my solicitor. And he said, no, there's no conflict of interest here, and I will be being your judge throughout the whole process. And I was like, what? It is definitely a conflict of interest. Like, you literally sat 15 meters away from me at my son's funeral before you were a judge and you were a solicitor. And so anyway, throughout that whole court case, I started, thinking, what should I do about this? Like, this is definitely a conflict of interest, and this judge definitely is trying to hang me. And so it ended up getting until the day before my court case, and you guys, as my audience, has said to me that I should definitely do a video about it, saying that the judge that is sitting on my case is doing something wrong. And I didn't say he was corrupt or anything like that. All I was saying is that there was a conflict of interest, and that if I don't come back to make a YouTube video tomorrow, then you know that I've been put in prison by a judge that 100% shouldn't be residing on my case. And so that is Judge Dunn. And yeah, so the very next day I go into court, and mysteriously Judge Dunn had disappeared and was no longer residing on my case. And when I found out yesterday that this was the same judge that Dezi Freeman had been trying to arrest, and when he got arrested for trying to arrest that judge for treason. And, and then I think it's also funny how Dezi Freeman was banging on about Dan Andrews for treason. And now the president of the United States has said he will not do business with Australia until they reinstore free speech and they lock up Dan Andrews for treason. Like, that's just absolutely blown my mind. And yeah, so I just thought, my God. And when I found out, so what I actually found out about that judge too, so there was an ex-police officer that used to be a police officer in that same town. And so when he found out that that stuff was going on with me, he approached me up the street one day and said that I know of so many different cases where the judge knew that he couldn't be sitting on that case that day, but he sat on them and sent those people to prison anyway. So it's like, it's an absolute, it's a conflict of interest no matter what way you look at it. A judge cannot sit on your case and be your judge unless you have not ever had any dealings with that person. And I had personal dealings with that person. So just today, well, just last night, actually, I was sent some photos of Dezi Freeman. And so I will put these photos down here. So in these photos, there's photos of Dezi from at least 20, maybe 30 years ago, of showing photos of Dezi up the same river where they're now saying that they think he may have canoed out of there. And I honestly believe that that's exactly what's happened. Like, if you're a smart man and we're as bush savvy as they say he is, and I'm here today to say that he is 100% as bush savvy as everyone is saying he was. The photos here, shows him, the photo of him holding a snake. He must be 20 years old there. And also with him in a canoe up the same river where the Buckland River, I think it's called. And also, so it's come to light that he was a third Dan black belt. And so there's photos here. So that old guy in that slide of photos there is Benny the Jet. So never ever lost a martial arts fight in his life. And that other guy, I don't know who that other guy is, but that photo on his hand. Now, tell me if you guys know. So, I know that they use a lot of the Celtic Viking tattoos as, white supremacy tattoos, and that's what that looks like on his hand. I'm not saying that's what that guy has got tattooed on his hand, the guy with his face blurred. I'm just saying that's what it looks like to me. I don't know enough about that, but I'm just saying that is what it looks like. But also, I also got a message from someone from the sovereign citizen community, and they have said this. So they do not back Dezi Freeman, and they do not accept him as a sovereign citizen. So this is what it says. Dezi Freeman briefly looked at the sovereign citizen movement, but decided it wasn't for him. He claimed to be a sovereign citizen, then has been confirmed by a close friend, an ex-soldier. He has refused to pay some traffic fines. Dezi was also an anti-vaxxer. It was neither safe or effective. Dezi was offended by police corruption and was particularly offended by an incident where two police officers pepper sprayed and bashed a mentally ill woman. Those officers are now serving time. Yes, Dezi has some mental issues and was seeking help. Police and the judge he arrested in court found him irritating. Due to this, police dug deep and found something to pin him up on. They came up with a 7-year-old incident where Dezi had gone skinny dipping in a lake, in a bush lake, while he was there with family and a family friend. A young girl was present and a complaint had been made. While it may be deemed a bit offensive, and it certainly wasn't sexual assault, and why wait 7 years to act on it? During the raid, he asked to speak to the head of the operation but was refused. At one point, his wife, Marley, told the police officer she and her children are coming out, but she was told she was hindering police. Over a 25-minute period, Dezi told police the warrant for sexual assault was BS and to leave him and his family alone. He had yelled out, "You are going to kill me," and was obviously highly distressed. The police then proceeded to break down Dezi's home door. It wasn't until police officers smashed his way into Dezi's home in that Dezi apparently opened fire using a homemade weapon. So we end up with 2 police officers, their lives lost, 1 wounded. Where were the other 7 officers when Dezi made his way into the bush or towards the river? There is no proof members of the public knew where Dezi was or hiding or were assisting him. We now get footage of his raided home as if to say this is how he lived. The whole arrest stinks of police incompetence and or corruption. The persecution of someone law enforcement found not violent but irritating. There is way more to this than we are being told. So that was someone from the sovereign citizen community, and they are 100%. They're not claiming any association with Dezi, and they're 100% putting their hands up now and saying that, they're definitely not assisting Dezi in his endeavors. Well, there you go. Bloody Dezi Freeman's bloody Kung Fu Panda and Rambo and Bear Grylls, and he's got a black belt in origami. But anyway, those updates came in last night, so I thought I had to make a video straight away. but it just blew my mind when I found out that that same judge that was definitely being suspect on my case was the same exact judge that Dezi Freeman was banging on about this whole time. And yeah, it just blew my mind. And yeah, you know, black belt in origami or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is, but he's got a black belt in something. And yeah, hanging around with Benny the Jet. Like, yeah, it just blew my mind and thought you guys have got to get these updates straight away. But anyway, guys, for more Dezi Freeman updates, and if you haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. And if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. So I said I wasn't going to do another update on the Dezi Freeman case until there was a major update. Now, I think this is a very major update. They are now trying to tell us today that Dezi Freeman was prime suspect number one in the Silk and Miller police officer murders of the early 2000s, 1999, 2000s. What? Rightio. So this is that Johnny Cabray from the Daily Mail who's been sitting in her car in Port Panca and posting all these wild, outlandish accusations. And so, you know, I just think that this is crazy that this video hasn't been posted to any of her accounts on YouTube, Daily Mail, YouTube, anything. This is just on her TikTok. And I think that that speaks a little bit of volumes. I think this stinks a little bit.
Fugitive gunman Dezi Freeman was actually the prime suspect in a shocking double murder of two other police officers 20 years ago. My name's Jonica, I'm a journalist, and I broke this story. Detectives Gary Silk and Rodney Miller were both killed on duty. They were investigating a series of robberies of restaurants in Melbourne, which had been going on for around 7 years. One evening in 19...
So as you know, Bandali Debs and the other guy who I won't mention because in 2022 he was actually released without charge on this. And yeah, I just think this is just wild. Why is this only coming out now? This is like massive.
98, they were on stakeout at the Silky Emperor Chinese restaurant. They were in the underground car park and a dark blue Honda Civic drove into the car park. It saw the officers and quickly pulled out and drove off at speed. They both pursued the car but ended up losing it in the back streets. The following evening they returned to the stakeout where a different car had gone into...
Do you know how many of them Honda Civics there actually was when they were looking for that car? In Victoria, registered the exact same colour. Like, I don't even, like, seriously, to me, this is like a bit of a reach. I really don't know. And I think it's very suspect that she hasn't posted it to the Daily Mail on her YouTube channel. Well, if she has, I haven't seen it.
To the underground car park. The same thing happened. This time they managed to chase and stop that car, and they both lost their lives being shot when they pulled it over. The killing sparked one of Victoria's largest ever investigations, and the police offered a record $500,000 reward for information. A lot of the investigation was based around this car, and this same car was the one that Dezi Freeman was driving at the time.
So also, I said that I wasn't going to do another update on Dezi Freeman until there was another major update. And I think this is fairly major. Like, I feel like, how many things are you going to try and pin to this guy before you get your man? Like, I really feel like you guys are clutching at straws here and just trying to, like, load him up with anything.
Freeman was pulled in for questioning on a number of occasions about his possible involvement in the robberies and the murder. At this stage, Freeman didn't necessarily have his extreme beliefs about authority and police targeting him. However, he was on the fringes of those views, and friends tell me that this certainly pushed him over. In July 2000, Bandali Debs and Jason Roberts were arrested. Jason was Bandali's son-in-law. He was just 17 years old and dating his daughter at the time. He always maintained his innocence. He admitted to taking part in the robbery.
So I've mentioned this in other videos before. I spent a lot of my youth in Cranbourne, and so I actually knew Jason as a youngster. He actually dated my sister in high school before all this stuff happened.
The robberies, but he said that he didn't have anything to do with the murder that night. And in 2022, he was actually acquitted after serving 20 years in jail.
So you could imagine that guy would have got the most astronomical payout you have ever thought about. He got released after, he was going to be spending the rest of his life in prison, dubbed to have taken two police officers' lives, and he had nothing to do with it. The payout for this guy would be massive.
He was released. Dezi Freeman is still on the loose. He hasn't been seen in 5 weeks. Despite the police offering a $1 million reward, no confirmed sightings have been made. The manhunt has been scaled back to half the size, with around 200 officers now on the ground, including special forces. Fugitive gunman Dezi Freeman was actually the prime suspect in a shocking.
So, yeah, there you go, guys. What do you think? I think this is just like, I really think that they're clutching at straws here. Like, how much more wilder and how much more crazy and bonkers can this story actually get? It's actually quite crazy. And, yeah, it's literally blown my mind. So yeah, I don't know, guys. This is something else, a new update that is like stinking, just like all the other updates. Like I would imagine. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But if this was the case, wouldn't this be the kind of information that they would be putting out there to the public, like to try and make him sound, 10 times more dangerous than he is, and whatnot. And once again, it's an absolute travesty what has happened. But you can't be like seriously in thinking that people are believing these kind of updates. Like obviously the people that took those other two police officers in 1999 or 2000, whenever it was, those people were charged for it. And so yes, one of them did spend 20 years in prison, wrongly convicted, and was actually released without charge. And the other guy was actually, he's spending the rest of his life in prison as well, because they brought him undone on multiple like, really, really bad SA charges against females. And so he was actually charged here for sour grapings, and this is that Bandali Debs. And then he was sent to Sydney and charged with a multitude of sour grapings. So like, I just don't understand it. How, all right, if this is the case, so like, why is it relevant now? Why is this relevant now? Like a month and how many days it is now, 5 days, however many days it is. And why is this relevant? But also, Johnny Cabray, why are you only posting this on your TikTok, which I would imagine that not everyone who follows your stories follows them on TikTok. They probably follow them on YouTube, like where the rest of your stories are. And I just think that, yeah, once again, I think that they can't be obviously serious in thinking that people in the public aren't going to sit there and go, what the hell? Like, where are you pulling this stuff from? Like, it's this literally blowing my mind. But yeah, there you go, guys. Another update that's just blown my mind and is obviously hogwash. I don't know. It could be true. But like, I've done a fair bit of extensive searching today and been unable to find any evidence or any information about Dezi Freeman having any part in that whatsoever, other than this TikTok story, what this lady has posted today. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section, because like, I just think this is just actually becoming quite comical, the way that this thing is being organized and the way it's being handled. Like, it's just crazy. And I just think that, like, what's next? Do you know what I mean? What next are they going to try and stick to this guy? All right, fair enough. He is alleged to have done some very, very horrible crimes, and I understand that, but like, you know, like nailing people up for crimes that quite possibly didn't even happen. You know, and even if it is the if he had the same car, do you guys know? Like, I followed this case. There's a book that's called Eavesdropping on Evil, where you can actually there's an old CD that used to come with this book, and you used to be able to put it into your stereo and listen to the actual police evidence they're talking about in this, you know, the Silken Miller police case. And yeah, it's just bonkers. Like, I just think this has just blown my mind today, and I just knew you guys would like to hear this because it's not getting put out there in mainstream media, and if it is, I haven't seen it. And yeah, so this lady's name is Johnny Bray. And yeah, this is her TikTok channel. You just go there and type her name in. You'll be able to find this. Plus, you will be able to find just a couple of videos down from that one. There's some more outlandish claims, and I just think, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But there you go, guys. There's another update on Dezi Freeman. I know I said I wasn't going to do another one until there was a major update, but I would consider this a pretty major update. And I knew that every single one that's following this story through my page and the Chaos Chronicles, that you guys would be all over this and would love to hear it. And yeah, which brings me to my next bit, guys. If you haven't already and you guys are loving my content, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. And if you smash that bell icon, you will never miss any of my clips again. So we also have a Discord available, guys. So the link to my Discord is in my channel page. It's where we hang out, chat, and yeah, the Chaos crew just get in there and share videos and chat, and it's just a cool place to hang out. And yeah, we also have paid memberships available, and as I always say, they aren't for everybody, as they are paid memberships, but it's a good way to show your support. And I really, really appreciate all the paid memberships. Bluetooth it. But yeah, guys, that's it. Chaos Chronicles, you guys have been absolutely legends. And as always, don't do drugs and crime, and you won't end up in prison. So it's been a month and 3 days since 2 police officers' lives were taken, and Dezi Freeman took off into the bush and was never seen again. And although every single news outlet in the country has not done one story on this, the biggest story in the country since it was the month day, but I have found a little gem today that you guys are going to want to see. Was one of the police officers that's lives was taken actually an actor? Rightio, legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today I'm doing a Dezi Freeman update, seeing as every single person on the planet has seemed to have forgotten that Dezi Freeman has existed. So I don't know what's going on and why the media has stopped doing Dezi Freeman stories. Like, it was the biggest story in the country for years past, and then all of a sudden every single media outlet in the country on the day that it turned a month old stopped reporting on it. And so really there's not really many updates. I mean, the updates are, like I said, you know, you had Stanley Murovich was arrested at his house in Myrtleford last week and was released without charge because he had absolutely zero connection with Dezi Freeman. And then obviously we had the Albino Goodwill D'Souza, that was the PDF file that was banned from posting on the internet, that got charged for trying to incite hate against the police on the internet. And he's where he needs to be anyway. He's a PDF file, and that's where they need to be. And so there's not really been many updates, but I'll tell you what, I found a little nugget, and this is a nugget. So I think it's important for me to say right here and right now that I take no sides in this matter whatsoever, and I am just reporting on the facts that are out there. And the fact that I found that one of these police officers was an actor. And so I think that's just absolutely crazy, because so many people are saying in the conspiracy circle that, you know, they were crisis actors and whatnot. And so it turns out that one of them actually was an actor. And let's have a look at this. Rightio. So this is a movie that's available on YouTube. So every single person can see this. So this is a movie that's called Lesonge. So Lesonge. And so we're not going to watch the whole movie. It's only a 20-minute movie anyway. And so it shows one of the police officers as a child. And then at the end, I'm going to fast forward to the end of the movie so I can show you that this guy's name is in this. And so the character's name in this movie is actually Vadim as well. So let's have a look. So I'm going to put a picture up here. And once again, there is absolutely no disrespect in what I'm saying here. I'm just stating facts, and this is what people need to see. So I'm going to put a picture up of one of the fallen officers. Rest in peace. And but yeah, have a look at this.
Colors are rather beautiful.
C'est vrai. J'ai des problèmes avec les couleurs. Je sais pas comment m'y prendre.
Et l'hiver, là où tout est gris et blanc. Vous préférez l'hiver?
Non. Ça peut paraître étrange.
So in the movie, he speaks in French and in English as well.
Mais je ne fais jamais de photos en hiver. Peut-être parce que justement, il n'y a pas de couleur. Et puis une œuvre d'art, un amour, ça commence toujours en été.
When I take photos, there's always a color.
Tu prends des photos?
Especially animals. Oh, I
Alright,
also
I'm
stick in
gonna-
my diary.
Qu'est-ce que t'écris?
English.
J'écris ma vie.
À ton âge? Tu nous raconteras ça?
So anyway, we're going to fast forward to another bit so you can see a little bit more clearer. So I don't know what's going on here. I think that somebody has drowned in the lake, but as you can see, that is definitely the same person. Once again, I will put a photo up there so you can see. So yeah, once again, I don't really know what goes on in this movie. I can't speak French, so I don't really know. But yeah, once again, this is a movie that's called Lesonge, Lesonge. All right, so we're going to go to the credits at the end of the movie, and I'm going to show you. Watch. They are going to come up. So this is the guy that directed it. And then in a moment, the name is going to come rolling up on the screen. You ready? Right there. Vadim, played by Vadim Dewart Hotat. Now, I would imagine that is not a very common name, but the fact that this person looks exactly the same, and this is this person. And so if you go into this person's profiles and stuff before he became a police officer, so he also has what is called an IMDb file. So that is a file that you can only get if you are an actor. I'm going to put a little screenshot from the IMDb file on there. But what about that? that is like absolute undeniable fact right there. And I think that that is just absolutely bonkers. And it blew my mind when I found this out today. And I just thought, I have got to get this out there and let you guys know ASAP. So yeah, once again, I don't take any sides in this matter. I think it's very horrible what's happened, but I just think it's really crazy that one of these police officers was an actor when all of the conspiracy theorists were saying that, you know, the police officers were crisis actors and all this kind of stuff. I mean, when facts are facts, you can't argue with them. And that's exactly why I brought this to you today. Now, all of you guys said at the start when I started doing this Dezi Freeman stuff that you guys don't even watch the news anymore because they talk shite, and you'd rather watch me because I bring the facts. And so that's exactly why I brought this to you today, because I think that this is something that people need to be talking about, like stuff like this. And also the fact that right up until the day this incident turned a month old, they literally were posting like 4 or 5 stories a day about Dezi Freeman. And then from the month mark, there is not one story to be posted about Dezi Freeman. And I think that that says a lot as well. And if you ask me, it is because the Victorian police and the government absolutely know that this is like embarrassing for them. Like it's costing them over $1 million per day to have all them people out there and still with, like I said at the start, zero evidence and absolutely zero evidence against Dezi Freeman being caught. And so, you know, I also think it's important that you know, he kind of needs to get caught. So a second side of the story needs to be had, because so far, and I am the least conspiracy theorist person there is, but so far, and just because I spent my whole life in and out of prison before I turned my life around, there is always two sides to a story. And this is why it's important that you hear both sides of the story, because otherwise you're only hearing one side of the story. And you know, I think we are all in 2025 a lot smarter than to know that there's something a little bit more going on here. Once again, I'm not taking sides. All I am going with is the facts that you guys keep putting out there for us to take in. And so I just think there's a lot of suspect stuff going on here. And yeah, I just think it's really funny how, you know, this was the biggest story in Australia and then bang, just dead. No stories whatsoever. So what is going on? Like, where is the Dezi Freeman case today? Like, are they still searching the same area or have they moved? I've read reports saying that they have moved, but all the locals and that still tell me that they are still basically in the exact same area, pissing off the locals and yeah, with coming up with absolutely nothing. So it kind of like just seems like it's a big waste of money. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section, especially about old mate being an actor. Yeah, once again, it's absolutely sad as what's happened, and you know I'm not taking sides on this. But once again, I will put the facts out there, and I think that you know that's what we as the public deserve, and that's exactly why I'm doing that. So if you guys haven't already, please jump down there. If you're enjoying these updates and you're enjoying my content, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription. It's the best way to show your support. And if you smash that bell icon, you will never miss any of my clips again. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You guys have been absolutely awesome. And as always, don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. Bloody legends for hanging in there. We're halfway there. And what about that? I could not believe it. This is exactly what got me so involved in this Dezi Freeman situation in the first place, was when I found out that he was involved in corruption with the exact same judge that's mentioned there. I had my own corruption going on. So yeah, as mentioned in the videos, you know, like had personal connections with this judge. He used to be my solicitor. He used to be my dad's solicitor. He used to be my brother's solicitor. It was definitely a conflict of interest. And even though I brought it to the attention of the court, he seen and thought that it was not a conflict of interest. And I literally made a video the night before saying, if I do not make a YouTube video tomorrow, I have been sent to prison illegally. And what do you know? Miraculously, this person had been my judge for the last 12 months, was no longer my judge anymore. Crazy stuff. But rightio, back into it. So it was a month ago today that Dezi Freeman is alleged to have taken 2 police officers' life and taken off into the bush. So a month ago today, and we still have absolutely zero evidence. And the police said the last update we have is that they were scaling back operations and they're going to just concentrate on leads. But I'll tell you what, something stands out very peculiar. Rightio legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today we're doing another update on Dezi. And so although the media, the police, nobody has put any updates out since the last update, they said that they were scaling back their process and they're just going to concentrate on leads. Now, all this has done is caused more concern in the public because the public are pissed off and they have had enough with what's going on as it is, and they just want the people gone, and they have had enough. But other than that, we haven't really had much going on in the Dezi case, like absolutely zero evidence in the Dezi case. So we had Stanley Murovich was arrested in Myrtleford earlier on this week and released without charge, with absolutely zero links to Dezi Freeman whatsoever. And then we had Albino D'Souza just a few days ago was arrested. Now he is a PDF file, and so he was arrested for trying to incite riots and trying to, agree to violent acts against the police, and he was arrested, but he is a PDF file, so that guy is exactly where he needs to be. But I'll tell you what, so about 2 weeks ago, there was something that was said on the media by one of Desmond Freeman's family members that just stuck out as very, very, very odd to me. And we're going to go through it now, and you let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Rightio. So about 2 weeks ago now, so it was 2 weeks ago, the Daily Mail put out this little nugget. And so tell me if something stands out to you guys, what the Sun says in this, because it just doesn't make any sense to me that this is the truth.
You just can't appoint yourself judge, a juror, an executioner.
Police are now getting desperate and have offered a $1 million reward.
It's dangerous thinking because you can fulfill your own prophecy, can't you?
The search for Dezi Freeman has now entered its 16th day. I'm Jonica Bray and I'm a journalist for the Daily Mail. This is the latest on the Dezi Freeman shooting. On Monday, Daily Mail spoke to his son, Koa. He said that his father could already be laying dead. I've just accepted the worst, that's it, he told Daily Mail. I'm doing regular going about work and stuff and taking my mind off it. But he said he was able to survive in the bush alone, comparing him to Rambo. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the movie Rambo, especially the first Rambo movie. It's like that, but 10 times capacity.
Desmond Freeman is armed.
So if you ask me, that right there is 2 contradicting statements right there. So he says that he believes that his dad is in the ground and he's just going on with his life as normal. So, I just think that is very suspicious, that you are just going to consider your father dead and then you're just going to move on with your life like normal, as if, your father isn't the most wanted man in the country right now. So that sticks out as very, very concerning. And then in the very next breath, he says that my dad is like Rambo. I don't know if you've seen Rambo, but he's very, very capable of surviving up in the bush. And so ever since this came out, it's kind of stood out to me as something that just didn't make sense. Now, why would he just move on with his life and just accept that his dad was dead? But in the very same breath, say that his dad is like Rambo and is quite capable of surviving out there in the bush. I think that, that itself right there is a little gold nugget. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And once again, this is just my take on it. And this is, this is all evidence that is like relevant, and it is absolutely available to everyone. So this is from the Daily Mail. Just jump on YouTube and you'll find this. So the video is called Dezi Freeman's Son Reveals Explosive Theory About His Dad, and you will be able to find this.
Armed and dangerous, and presents, as I said, a significant risk to the community.
Police are now getting desperate and have offered a $1 million reward for anyone with information leading to Dezi's safe capture.
As I said, we've had over 1,000 tips since this horrendous crime was committed,
and no real tips have been made since then. So if you have a look still to today, the tips are sitting around the 1,100 mark, and right at this mark right here, it was sitting at 1,000, 1,100. So not really many people are making tips. But that $1 million reward, what people don't understand is the chances of you getting that whole $1 million reward is quite slim, actually. And so, you have to have evidence that leads to a conviction, and so arrest and then conviction. So, a lot of people don't see this money.
Since Saturday, we've had nearly 200 tips come through. And as I said, we are following each and every one of those tips down. And I would appeal again to the community to keep those tips coming. We only need the one tip that will result in the capture of Desmond Freeman.
I have seen the video of the deadly ambush where Dezi Freeman allegedly shot 2 police officers. That ambush happened just over here at his Porapunka property, where he was living in his bus with his wife and children. This manhunt is incredibly difficult because Dezi Freeman has climbed and known these mountains for decades. That, paired with extreme weather conditions, with temperatures dipping below freezing, he is a formidable force. We also heard from Dezi's priest over the weekend.
My name's Father Tony Shalhoub. I'm the pastor here, as well as in Myrtleford, mainly this valley. Yeah, Dezi would come with his family every Sunday. His general demeanour was I thought gentleman. His love of his family was strong.
So this is his pastor saying this, that he was generally a gentleman. And what's always stood out as weird to me is this guy has no violent history whatsoever. So his priors came out just days after, his criminal prior history, and he has 0 violent offences against his name whatsoever.
He was part of the community. That particular Sunday, I just sensed it, and I didn't know a reason, but I sensed that he was just seemed a little agitated. He was jagged in his movements and walking quite quickly, whereas he'd usually just stay around and chat to people, but not that Sunday. I'd never heard of the sovereign citizens until all of this. I knew there was protest arising from the COVID times, and that I knew there were anti-vaxxers. I didn't know it was such a...
So now they're saying that there's evidence saying weeks leading up to this that his Facebook posts were getting, increasingly aggressive and whatnot. And to me, it just seems like, I've grown up around crime and obviously trying to dodge the police until I changed my life, my whole life. And it is very common for police to fit evidence to the narrative, to make it fit towards the narrative. It's not uncommon.
An organised group as such. And I didn't know he belonged to that. The only hint I got of his sense of conspiracy or apocalyptic thinking was when the last Pope died, that was Pope Francis, he said to me, "We're into dangerous times." And I said, "Why?" He said, the next Pope, it could be the Antichrist. I said, I'll get over it, Dezi. Well, there's conspiracy theories around it. It's just so a certain
The next pope can be the Antichrist. Damn. Big bloody claim there.
number of popes, then the Antichrist and second coming. But again, it's distorted thinking. It's dangerous thinking because you can fulfill your own prophecy, can't you? But you can't. You just can't appoint yourself judge, a juror, an executioner all in one. That exists within a society. Thank God we don't believe in capital punishment. But in trying to arrest a magistrate, he became the magistrate, the judge. And through his views and the views that were fed by different factional groups.
So I will say this, right? So he obviously, they're saying that he was some kind of a law expert, right? When that's not the case. So all that was a mention, and so it wasn't a hearing. He seemed to believe that court case he was having was a hearing, and so you have mentions like contest mentions, contest hearings, and so that was a contest mention, and he was under the belief that court case where he tried to arrest the judge was a contest mention, and so he doesn't a contest hearing, sorry, and he doesn't get to give his evidence in that. And so I will say that he was absolutely wrong in thinking that he could give evidence in that. That wasn't the time to give evidence.
Groups and conspiracy theorists. So he formed his judgments from that, became the juror, and eventually he became the executioner.
Tragically, we also had the funeral of slain cop Neil Thompson. His partner gave a moving tribute at his funeral.
Neil was an incredible man with whom I was privileged to build a life, a partnership, and a family. Words cannot convey the depth of sorrow and grief.
You know, what's even more sad as well is that they found that people had been making fake GoFundMe pages saying that they were the fallen police officers' families, and were raking in like a lot of money out of it. And so, yeah, just be careful where you're putting your money, guys, because a lot of people are doing GoFundMe scams surrounded around this. It's absolutely brutal, you know, and the people's family don't need to go through this bullshit
that his loss brings. And through it all, he taught me how to love without fear and how to be brave when I'm scared. And honey, I am so grateful you did, because I am scared. I don't want to live life without you, and I don't want to finish our dreams on my own. But I will, I promise. I will be brave, I will love you, I will honour you, and cherish every moment that I spent with you.
Well, yeah, there you go. Like I said, that I think that's a little nugget right there, and I just don't think that the son is really believing that, and I think that that's his son just trying to, you know, diffuse the evidence. But like, why would he say in the same breath that he thinks that his father's in the ground, but then in the very same breath say that his father's like Rambo? It just doesn't make sense, and I think there's more to that than is to be. So yeah, like I've said from the start, I believe that the mother and that son right there, because they weren't arrested to the next day, they disappeared, met up with Dezi at an undisclosed location, and got him way the hell out of there. And this is why it is like an absolute joke, because they're spending $1 million per day to be out there and search for Dezi, and they have found zero evidence. And meanwhile, people's houses in Victoria are getting ran through every single day. People are getting robbed in their own houses. We've got a very serious problem going on, and they keep saying we just don't have the funds to fund this youth crime problem. Yet, in the last month, because it was a month ago today that Dezi Freeman took off into the bush and 2 police lives were lost, which means that it's well over $30 million that's been wasted in trying to find Dezi Freeman. And I say wasted because there is absolutely zero evidence. Like, you guys haven't turned up one bit of evidence to say that Dezi Freeman is still in that area. Now, I would have thought this is how searches work, that once you finish with that area, you expand your search and then you leave that area. And it just doesn't really seem like, you know, they've moved their base operations once or twice, but other than that, no real evidence has come. You know, we had Stanley Murovich, like I said, was arrested and released without charge because he had absolutely zero connection to Dezi Freeman. And, you know, and then you had Albino Goodwill D'Souza, the PDF file that was arrested and placed where he needed to be for trying to tell people on social media to attack police, when this guy is banned from social media because he is a PDF file. So if you ask me, that guy's where he needs to be. So that's the only positive news to come out of this Dezi Freeman thing, is that, you know, they locked up a PDF file. But I mean, yeah, other than that, they said they're scaling back the operations, and people in the local communities are still pissed off because they're not scaling back the communities. And, you know, like I said in my other video, people can't even go from their house to the shop without getting pulled over 3 times. All you have to do is jump in the comment sections of my last 3 Dezi Freeman videos, and you'll see comments from the locals saying how pissed off they are that this is going on in their area. But yeah, a month on and still no information about Dezi Freeman. But like I said, I will keep you guys updates with every bit of information that we have on the Dezi Freeman case, which leads me to my next bit. If you guys haven't already and you guys are enjoying my content, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription. It's a good way to show your support, and I really appreciate it. And if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. And as always, don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. A registered sex offender has just been arrested in relation to Dezi Freeman's case, but not in relation to Dezi Freeman's case. Let's get into it. Rightio legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. So I've got a couple of Dezi Freeman updates for you. But before we get into it, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription if you're enjoying my content. And if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. All right. So just in the last 24 hours, a pretty bad sex offender, so someone who has historic child sex offenders and who is on the sex offence list, has been arrested in relation to Dezi Freeman's case, but has nothing to do with Dezi Freeman. So I'll explain how. So this guy, so his name, I'll chuck his picture down there. So his name is Albino Goodwill D'Souza. So that's his actual name. This guy is an absolute cretin, and he's got, you know, priors going way back for child offences, and this guy is an absolute creep. So he was actually on an order which prohibited him from using any type of social media. And so they actually found that this guy had several undeclared accounts and was using them to try and cause an uproar in the Dezi case. So he was making videos and telling people to do violent acts against the police. And so, yep, they've just said, you know, we've had enough of this, and we're going to get him. And I can tell you, this is the only thing in the whole situation with this Dezi Freeman case that I actually agree on. And this creep needs to be off the street anyway. And so, yeah, we can thank Dezi Freeman for that one. So Albino Goodwill D'Souza has been locked up because his bail conditions, like I said, prohibited him from using any type of social media. And yeah, it was proven that he had several undeclared accounts in his name that he was using frequently, and yeah, trying to get people to do violent acts against the police in regards to the Dezi Freeman case. And another update that we've got. So the police have also in the last 24 hours said that they are about to draw a line in the sand and they are going to scale back their big search efforts and they are going to concentrate on leads and send, like highly armed police officers and army personnel into people's houses who they think have anything to do with Dezi Freeman. Now, all this is going off his leads. So if this is how easy it is for people to get their houses raided, like it's just absolutely crazy. And I think that, like I say in every video, like this stuff just seems to every single day just get more and more worse. So like basically what they're saying, not basically, this is what they're saying. They are going to cut down their 450-man search operation that's been concentrating on the same area for a month almost. So it's only 2 days off a month. And so, they haven't really stretched out anywhere, haven't moved anywhere. But anyway, they have said that they have wasted too many resources and too much time on this search efforts, and they are going to concentrate more on following leads and raiding people's houses in relation to leads that they get in relation to the Dezi Freeman case. Like I keep saying, like this, is it just me? Like, let me know in the comment section. Does it seem like laws are getting made up willy-nilly here? So like, applying the Australian Defence Force into a domestic situation is not allowed. And like I said in other videos, this would be the first time if they are doing it legally using the Part 3 AAA Act of the, I don't even know what it's called, but it enables so they created this just before the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. And it was so if there was any kind of attacks or any people were trying to do any terror attacks or anything like that on the Olympics, it allowed our Australian Defence Force to intervene in a domestic situation. Where what I mean by domestic situation, I mean on our own home soil. Generally, Australia aren't fighting wars on our own soil, But also yesterday, a ex-police officer said, which is quite funny that they say this yesterday and then this today. So an ex-police officer yesterday said that it will probably take them 3 months to find Dezi Freeman because it took them 3 months to find Malcolm Naden. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Malcolm Naden on the run for 8 years or something like that? I know it was definitely over 7, but I know it wasn't 3 months. Like that guy was on the run for years and years and years. But anyway, let's have a look at this.
And former police officer and hostage negotiator, Dr. Vincent Hurley from Macquarie University. Doctor, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks, Janet.
Do you think Dezi Freeman is still alive?
I do. And the reason I say that is because he would have had no warning that the police were coming because it was a search warrant. So then he would have fled into the bush, and I think that the police would have.
Which doesn't make sense, because is it just me, or at the start, did they say that they gave him pre-warning that they were coming? Like he knew that they were coming. They said that he was sitting in wait for them coming. Am I wrong?
I've heard a gunshot, considering he had high-powered rifle at the time. So I think he's still out there. I don't think he's been harboured by anybody because it would have been a spur-of-the-moment thing. So I think he's still out there, yes.
We said before he's very experienced with the bush. How long do you think he can survive for?
The only similar experience is Malcolm Naden in 2012. He survived for 3 months by himself out in the bush, similarly skilled with bushcraft. So
I don't think that's true. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment sections, and I will admit that I'm wrong if I'm wrong. But wasn't that guy, literally, he was had legitimate sour graping charges against his own family members and was on the run for 8 years. And then when he got to prison, he got messed up.
I would not be surprised if we're looking at 3 months. It's fairly rugged terrain, and I think that the police would have a number of different cordons. So I think it would be 3 months would be a reasonable yardstick.
You don't think he's being harboured or supported by anyone?
Look, I don't think so. I think that given the amount of police down there, and I don't think this community would support him at all because of what he's done. And then I think it would be really difficult for him to get across to the other side of the Alpine region.
Now, I'm not saying that the community would support him, because they probably wouldn't. But one thing I can tell you, because like I keep on saying, I am from the Northeast, and people are fed up with this bullshit going on in their area. Like, people can't even... So someone told me yesterday that just on the Alpine Road that they got pulled up 3 times on their way home from going home from the shops. So that's how full on it is, and people are getting pissed off.
And get assistance in that short period of time. Also because Pol Air was there really quickly. So I don't think... I mean, it's possible, Tash, but I don't think so.
So in regards, you've been in this situation before as a negotiator. We know he is allegedly accused of pretty serious crimes here. How do you think this will play out if he does get apprehended or if authorities do find him?
That will be up to him how it plays out. The fact that he's a sovereign citizen means he's wedded to a political ideology, so his enemy is the state, like the state government.
They have to put that narrative out there too. I don't understand it. From, there's a lot of people with their ears to the ground on this case, and from all my research, and like I said, there was people from the sovereign citizen community reached out to me last week, and they are not claiming Dezi, and they said that yes, he was a part of this movement for about a week, but realised that the sovereign citizen movement wasn't for him. He is an anti-government person, but I like the way they have to put that narrative on it.
The courts, the police. So how it plays out will depending on his frame of mind, how he's coping mentally, physically, and depending upon if he wants to surrender or not, because the police want to get him to court for the family, for the victims.
And in regards also, I guess, that $1 million bounty, police would have been hoping, and authorities, that may get somebody to come forward with some critical information. Do you think that will help in the ongoing investigation at all?
Yeah, I think it will. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. It will also get information that people believe to be genuine, but in actual fact won't be. So the police could get slightly confused, very labour-intensive, but certainly the $1 million would be sent.
Well, the first day that $1 million reward went up, they had over 1,100 tip-offs.
A message to the community and to other sovereign citizens that the police around Australia will not accept this.
Plus, if the history is anything to go off, these people that make these reports because they're going to get some big crime payout, they don't even get the whole payout. And in fact, about 80% of them don't even receive their payouts because the police or the prosecution deem their evidence as not enough.
Type of behaviour.
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate you joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks very much.
Hurley, thank you.
Well, there you go, guys. 3 months. I don't get it. I believe that's a mistake there. Let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, there's kind of no comparison to the Dezi situation and Malcolm Naden, except they were both wanted by the police. Serious things. Other than that, it's pretty. You know what I mean? And I believe that Malcolm Naden was wanted for 8 years and on the run for 8 years. Not 3 months like he's saying. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I'm right. So, yeah, I think that's wrong. I'm pretty sure Malcolm Naden was on the run for 8 years. They even had mini-series out on the bloke and everything. But, yeah, there you go, guys. We are 2 days off being a month on the run. Dezi Freeman still with zero evidence whatsoever. And, let me know what you think again, guys. Do you think that Dezi Freeman is still on the run? A lot of people are saying that he might be not alive. He might have lost his life. And a lot of people are saying that he's already left the country. What do you guys think? Because like I keep saying, this case just keeps on getting more and more bonkers as the days go on. But I do have one more little bit of information. So I've got a bit of a misinformation that I can debunk for you guys. So a false claim that Daniel Andrews was due in court on Dezi's private treason charges days after the shooting. debunked by the AFP. It was a 2021 matter thrown out at the first hearing. So, you know, a lot of people were saying that the reason this happened is because there was an upcoming court case. And so the AFP have just debunked this and said that this court case took back in 2021 and was thrown out at the first hearing. So nothing took place in that. But yeah, there you go. One little bit of debunked information for you guys, if it is debunked. But yeah, that's what the AFP are saying, that is absolutely not the truth. But there you go, guys. More Dezi Freeman updates coming straight to you from the Chaos Chronicles. And if you haven't already subscribed, guys, and you're enjoying and loving the content, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription, and smash that bell icon. You'll never miss any of my clips again. I'll keep on reporting on this Dezi Freeman stuff until it is over and until they have found out the other side of the story, or found Dezi Freeman, or found Dezi Freeman's body, or whatever. I will continue reporting on this until the end, and I will keep on doing daily updates straight to you guys from the Chaos Chronicles. And once again, if you haven't already subscribed, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription. It's an awesome way to show your support. And if you hit that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. And as always, don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. Rightio, legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another Dezi update. So the man that was arrested 2 days ago in Myrtleford with apparent connections to Dezi Freeman. So Stanley Mirovich is his name. I'll chuck a picture of him down there. And so he's come out himself and said that he has no idea why police have suspected this. There's so much evidence pointing that he has absolutely nothing to do with Dezi Freeman or the sovereign citizen movement or any anti-government things like that. And what's really crazy is it's a very well-known fact that Dezi Freeman is a very devout Christian, apparently. And so this Stanley Mirovich is a very openly a Satan worshipper. And so anyone that knows Dezi has already commented and said there is just absolutely no way that Dezi would have anything to do with this guy, plain and simply because of his worship beliefs. And not only that, he wouldn't have any doings with anybody that doesn't follow his own beliefs anyway. Now, this is what his friends are saying in the news today. But we've got the Daily Telegraph, Wally, of a lady telling her story, but we'll have a listen and see what they come up with there. It's quite funny every time, I think. But yeah, Stanley Mirovich is his name, and obviously was released with no charges. He is a gun owner though, so he has come forward and says that he is a gun owner. And yeah, if that's enough for you to get your house raided by the police, like just being a gun owner, what an absolute joke of a situation this has become.
Despite Australia's largest manhunt, not a single trace of him has been found. Freeman could evade capture indefinitely. The New South Wales border is only 1.5 days' walk, which Freeman could easily have managed in the cover of darkness.
I've been saying that for weeks now.
It's been almost a month since fugitive Dezi Freeman disappeared into the Victorian bush, but despite Australia's largest manhunt, not a single trace of him has been found. This weekend, police raided a property in Myrtleford and a hooded man was led away in handcuffs, but police have since confirmed it was not Freeman. Stanley Mirovich actually took to social media to talk about his heartbreak and fear that there was a killer on the loose locally. It's not known why the police raided Mirovich's house on Friday. However, since there has been a $1 million reward, they have confirmed they have had over 1,000 tips in relation to Freeman's potential whereabouts. And neighbours of
Like, this Stanley Mirovich has gone on notice to say himself that it's quite obvious he has absolutely no connection with Dezi Freeman, and it's obviously some kind of grievance what the local police have with him. Like I said yesterday, are police breaching their powers just to get wanted criminals?
Mirovich do say that he is a gun lover. There seems to be no online connection between Freeman and Stanimorovich, who goes under the online name of 666 Lucifer. It's well documented that Freeman is a God-fearing man, and friends tell the Daily Mail there is no way he would be associated with anyone other than somebody that shares his Christian beliefs. Photos show him as a bush wild man, wrangling snakes, climbing cliffs barefoot, caked in mud and living out of caves. Friends say he never took food, tents or supplies, just disappeared into the wilderness with nothing but his survival skills. He styled himself.
Did you hear that? So he would take off into the wilderness with nothing except for his survival skills and take off for days on end. And so he's very, very capable of doing this stuff. And like I think one of two things have happened here. I think that Dezi's long gone and way out of there, or some first responders have got to him and yeah, he probably will never be found. But I guess this is why there needs to be two sides of this story, because there's only one so far, and we need to hear the other side of this story, that's for sure.
As a shaman-like figure, posting on Instagram about living wild and free, obsessed with martial arts, earning a black belt in Zen Do Kai. On August the 26th, officers surrounded the bus that Freeman shares with his wife and 2 children. They were there to serve a warrant on historic sexual assault charges against a minor. Freeman refused to open the door as officers took it in turns using a crowbar to gain entry. The standoff erupted into violence. 2 officers, Detective Senior Constable Neil Thompson and Senior Constable Vadim Dewart-Hurtat, were killed instantly. A 3rd officer was seriously injured. Freeman fled into the Alpen bushland with stolen police weapons and hasn't been seen since. While the raid was tied to historic sexual assault charges, Freeman had previously confided in friends about this. He said that they were trumped-up charges blown out of proportion, but he believed that the police were using this incident to target him. He believes...
So what I'm led to believe today is that those child offence charges came from a family trip where there was a teenage girl there and he's alleged to have skinny dipped. Now, most of the photos you see of Dezi Freeman, he's got half of his clothes off anyway, but apparently he was still in his boxer shorts anyway. And although that's not okay, but it is a far, far cry from a child sex offence, that's for sure.
He's been targeted for many years by the police. But our sources suggest that Freeman, a man who claims that he knows the law better than anyone else, was actually concerned about the handmade shotgun that he had hidden within the bus. If found, he would undoubtedly serve a large stretch in jail. The real reason.
So where have you got this information from? Daily Telegraph reporter or Daily Mail reporter? Like, where have you got this information from? You can't just say it because you think it.
Reason he did not want to open the bus that day. Friends believe he may be sheltering in caves he used as a younger man around the Mount Buffalo and Mudgegonga areas he knows intimately. Some suspect Freeman stashed supply caches around the bush ahead of time, allowing him to survive undetected. Police have hinted someone may be harbouring him, despite warnings that aiding a fugitive is a crime. Others wonder if Freeman has already died in the bush.
Not just a crime. They're saying that you can now get up to 20 years prison for helping out Dezi Freeman. And like I said in my other video, these are stuff that you just haven't heard before. And someone said, oh, but you would definitely get 20 years if you were helping him for accessory after the fact. No, you wouldn't be accessory after the fact. You're only accessory after the fact if you were complicit to him in them cops being their lives taken. You know, it would just be harbouring a fugitive.
With police simply yet to find his body, though criminologists argue his survival skills suggest otherwise. A more extreme theory is that he slipped through the rugged tracks out of state. The New South Wales border is only 1.5 days' walk, which Freeman could easily have managed in the cover of darkness. With every day that passes, Freeman's bushcraft legend grows, but so does the pressure on the Victorian police. Daily Mail spoke to a former detective, Luke Taylor, who said the search could easily turn into a game of tag unless the search tactics change soon. Taylor says the joint police and military hunt is hampered by officers' inexperience in the wilderness, where Freeman is supposedly an expert. He says they have rightly engaged specialist military who are trained in these environments, but that we have to ask ourselves, is there training in manhunting and tracking or reconnaissance and combat in this environment? The search has already cost millions of dollars with the involvement of hundreds of personnel, but according to Taylor, unless even more manpower is thrown at it, Freeman could evade capture indefinitely. As search efforts show no sign in slowing down, a question remains, is Dezi hiding in plain sight, or has he disappeared for good?
Yeah, what do you think, guys? Like, I personally think that old Desi's long gone by now, and well out of there, that's for sure. So what I don't understand is how she can just sit there in that car and say that the reason he didn't open the door was because he had a homemade shotgun in that caravan and he was scared that he would have got years jail for that shotgun. Well, you wouldn't have got years jail for that shotgun. A first-time offence for having an illegal firearm, he'd probably be lucky to do 1 day's prison over it, let's be honest. But yeah, and then like I guess the Stan Murovich situation, he 100% is coming out today saying that that the police are abusing their powers to raid people's houses that they've wanted to raid but couldn't do it without a warrant. Exactly like I said yesterday. And like I said, so a lot of people don't realise that I'm actually from the northeast. I live around this area, and so my ears to the ground, and I can tell you that the locals are pissed off, and they are pissed off with these people, the government people coming through their towns and like kicking off doors and not having to show any warrants or anything like that, because this is some new, clause 3 AAA act that they're using. And yeah, it just and it doesn't even matter. Every single day that this thing gets more and more on down the past, it just seems to be getting like worse and worse. Like, and the more bonkers it seems to be getting, and it's not even letting off. It just seems like every single day some more bonkers information comes out about Dezi Freeman and the Dezi Freeman situation. But yeah, there you go, guys. Update today on Dezi Freeman. If you guys haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. And if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. Also got a Discord available, guys. So if you want to hang out with us guys behind the videos, have a chat with me and the Chaos Crew team, jump over there. The link is in my channel page. And yeah, it's somewhere where you can just hang out, chat. You can share videos there, share pictures and stuff, and it's just where we all hang out and chat and have a good time. And also, guys, I do have paid memberships available where I do drop members only content. And yeah, it's not for everyone. They are paid memberships, but it is an awesome way to show your appreciation for the Chaos Chronicles. And yeah, if you guys haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. Once again, smash that bell icon. You'll never miss any of my clips again. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. Don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison.
Peter Dunn, I arrest you for aiding and abetting. Okay. I arrest you for acting oppressively and when interested and perverting the course of justice. You must stand down. You are now in my custody and under arrest. You are not free.
Rightio, legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today, I've actually got some footage of the court case where Dezi tried to arrest the judge and the police officers. Now, keep in mind, this is the same judge that I said there was corruption going on in my court case, and this is in one of the exact same court rooms where that same corruption was going on. So I thought you guys might like to hear what was actually going on inside this court case. And once again, like, you know, I'm not taking sides here. I'm literally, this is something that is going on in my area. I am from Northeast Victoria. And yeah, I just think this is absolutely getting bonkers now. And I just don't know what to believe anymore. And so that is why I am talking about it. And yeah, let's have a look at this.
I arrest you for aiding and abetting. Okay. I arrest you for acting oppressively and when interested and perverting the course of justice. You must stand down. You are now in my custody and under arrest. You are not free to leave.
So those of you who remember my explaining in the last video and the video before that, that this same judge that he is talking about was definitely being corrupt in my case. So my partner used to work at this judge's office when he used to be a solicitor. Her mum was his head clerk. So like his head office lady was my girlfriend's mum. So a lot of people asked when I said that this same judge was at my son's funeral when he was a solicitor. This was before he was a judge. And so a lot of people asked, why was the solicitor at your son's funeral? Well, that was because my partner worked for him and her mother worked for him as well. So that's why a lot of people were, you know, didn't understand why he was at my son's funeral. And that's why, because I had a, you know, this is why it was a conflict of interest, because, you know, I had somewhat of a personal relationship with this guy when he was a solicitor, when my partner and her mum used to work for this guy and he used to be my solicitor. Moving on.
Just have a seat. Does this court obey the law, sir? Just have a seat. Does this court obey the law? Have a seat. Even just once? Have a seat.
Mr. Prosecutor, how many police witnesses?
4, Your Honour. There's Miss Quinn, Gary French, Walker, Vance, and informant Porridge.
So 2 police and 2 civilian? Now, Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
In terms of your defence to the matter, what do you say? How many witnesses do you have?
I'll run my case where I'm going to run it, sir. Magistrate Stella Stuthridge has already progressed this matter. On the 13th of December last year.
Mr. Freeman, I've asked you a question.
I don't understand the question, sir. What was that?
How many witnesses do you have?
Witnesses?
Yeah.
I don't need witnesses.
Okay, so you have no witnesses? The purpose of this hearing is to determine how long the contested hearing...
I'll tell you one thing I have noticed, though. In all the footage they have of Dezi, he always articulates himself well. He always lets other people talk first. He doesn't try and talk over them. Even with the police when he ran away, like he even let them talk first. And, you know, once again, not taking sides here, but like, yeah, like I said, a lot of stuff starting to stink.
Hearing will take.
Sir, it's not. That's not what Magistrate Stuthridge ruled, and I'm about to give you that information, and so far you suppressed me from giving that information.
This matter is listed for a contest mention. It's running as a contest mention.
Can I speak now, please, sir?
Your question.
On the 13th of December last year, Magistrate Stella Stuthridge identified serious issues I raised, being a serious abuse of process in this matter, an order that was not made according to law, and many counts of fraud and perjury by the applicant. As a result, I've implemented a voir dire that this case cannot proceed until these matters are dealt with. It was upheld by Magistrate Stella Stuthridge, who allocated a hearing, which is now a year later, this one, and she specifically said that Magistrate Cottrell is not to sit on the matter because he was the one that caused the problem, that Magistrate Watkins cannot because he is biased, and that you cannot either. And then the registrar, Sam out there at the front, told me 3 weeks ago that you're one of the magistrates that had recused yourself from this matter. And I'm very angry that the registrars couldn't get it right and went and allocated this hearing while you were sitting when it was supposed to be Magistrate David Farram, according to Magistrate Stella Stuthridge. She also stated in the court, on the record, which you need to check, prosecutions are on notice that the hearing will be an application to strike the matter out, nothing else. She said it is booked in for an application to strike the matter out. She specifically told that to Prosecutor Stuart Pritchard. There has been a shocking delay in justice in the past year, waiting for my hearing. I've been back to court to try and get it heard sooner, which...
So for those of you that are wondering, this took place in 2024, so last year, and I believe this is at the Wangaratta Courthouse.
Is a perversion of the course of justice, and I'm not ready to make any more concessions for people. I've been to court 15 times. You would have been the fifth magistrate, but as it's gone around in circle, the fourth magistrate to sit on this case. This travesty of justice and unlawfulness by Loretta Quinn, by the police and by this court has continued for 2.5 years. Even during the deaths, my family deaths.
I mean, from what I know about the law, and obviously I spent a lot of my life inside of courtrooms, like I think he's got some pretty valid points here. Yeah, and also, like, I just can't see, like, you know, they're like telling the public and stuff to stay away. Like, yeah, I just don't understand it. I can't.
So I had 2 weeks after my sister-in-law dropped dead in front of the 4 kids. You and Evans and Eliades, French and Quinn and their lawyers all got in here and colluded all day long and harassed me for a full day in August. Then you adjourned it to November, and I was hounded and hammered again in the most sadistic way for a full day. And then I still didn't get the matter resolved because this court is still unable to resolve it according to law, which would only take 5 minutes.
So keep in mind, this is the same judge that I said from the start of my court case, you cannot be my judge. You used to be my solicitor. You were at my son's funeral. I had a friendship, personal relationship with you. My partner used to work for you. My partner's mum used to work for you. And he tried telling me that it's not a conflict of interest. It doesn't even matter what way you look at it, from what kind of aspect, it is a conflict of interest. And if you have a look at the comment section on my last 2 Dezi videos, you will see that I am not the only person that this has happened with Peter Dunn.
Now, the crimes that were committed by Loretta Quinn and Magistrate Cottrell took 17 minutes on the court record. It has now taken me 17 months to try and get the law simply upheld and get this matter reversed. And I can assure you, I am extremely angry and extremely determined, and I have no more...
Hey, I say this respectfully, but this cop here kind of looks like the poor officer that lost his life. Now, once again, I say this respectfully, but like, that really looks like him. Is it just me, or that's random?
Sessions or grace left for anyone involved, and am ready to launch private prosecutions against anyone who breaks the law in the court today. Now, I have the laws that are being broken, sir.
Freeman.
I'm being cut off, yeah? Okay.
Magistrate Stuffridge has made no orders in this matter. The matter is listed for a contest mention today.
So you're going to railroad me again, okay?
I have no evidence that what you say is incorrect. So...
Once again, he's been spoken over. He's letting the judge say everything he wants to say, and he's getting spoken over and not allowed to say what he wants to say.
In terms of not calling any witnesses, it would appear to be a factual argument.
Correct, sir.
I have evidence to give on the stand, sir.
Well, it's a question of factual argument.
I have evidence to give up there to this court. That's my right. Oh, yes, it is today. It is my right to a fair hearing. 2.5 years. Well, this needs to go to the Supreme Court. Do not adjourn this case, sir. You will be perverting the course of justice, and I will prosecute you.
What's the matter for you? How long will this matter take, Mr. Prosecutor? I would imagine at least a day.
At least a day, Your Honour.
This court has constructive knowledge of perjury being committed. You'll be aiding and abetting that if you proceed. you'll be in breach of justice court.
I can't get that out of my head now. That actually really looks like the officer that lost his life.
Rulings in the High Court, Nicholas versus the Queen, 1998, by proceeding in a matter that is an abusive process, where there are other serious matters raised which have been identified by a previous magistrate. Yeah. You cannot proceed in this matter by ruling of the High Court of Australia. If you're acting in criminal bias, the magistrate acting oppressively or when interested, I have a right to a fair hearing and I have a right to justice. If I do not get it, this proves that this is not a court of...
Once again, I'm not taking sides here, but I will call out corruption every single time. I do not give a shit if you like putrid corruption that puts, you know, people in bad places to suit themselves. And like I said, there are many people that this same judge has affected with this stuff, being their judge when he shouldn't be because he was their solicitor.
Competent jurisdiction, and you will be prosecuted, sir. For the Supreme Court and High Court justices listening to this recording in the future, take note the magistrate Dunn is not allowing me to have a fair hearing, is obstructing justice, and is in breach of the law. So I have an hour allocated for this hearing. I want to get up on that stand and give some evidence.
No, you're not.
Okay, well, you're perverting the course of justice. I've had enough of it. You're acting oppressively and when interested, in breach of the Crimes Act.
Are you available on the 5th of February?
No, sir, you have constructive knowledge of crimes committed in this court. You are now aiding and abetting them.
Are you available on the 5th of February?
Peter Dunn, I arrest you for aiding and abetting.
Okay.
I arrest you for acting oppressively and when interested and perverting the course of justice. You must stand down. You are now in my custody and under arrest. You are not free to leave.
Would you just mind asking?
For the Supreme and High Court justices listening to this recording in future, take note that the magistrate is under arrest for serious crimes committed against me, as have been outlined in numerous hearings and this one. I have no choice but to make this arrest under Section 458 of the Crimes Act, which is my lawful right to do so. This case cannot proceed. Right, who's the highest ranking police officer here?
That'd be me.
Right.
No.
So you're obliged.
No, I'm not.
Excuse me. You're obliged.
Excuse me for a moment. Just excuse me, Mr. Freeman.
Arrest has been made.
Mr. Freeman, just excuse me for a moment.
Honor, please.
5th of February at this court or at Juliet? At this court or at Myrtleford?
Like the response that he's getting from the cops there is absolute crap. Like, fair enough, if you don't believe in what he's saying there, like, he's actually been quite like humble about it and quite respectful. And if you notice, the whole time he's got his hands behind his back. Now that's something that like you do when you want people to know that you're not a threat. This is something that I do when I'm in court, and it's just something that comes naturally. And yeah, I just think that this is just wrong.
Well, I need to know now whether it's Myrtleford or is it 5th of February Myrtleford Day? Okay, 5th of February at Myrtleford.
Mr. Doss, I arrest you as well for malfeasance of public office and refusing to do your duty. All right, and your other charges will be added to that. Okay, so for the court record, for the Supreme Court and High Court justices listening to this recording, you're both under arrest. This matter has stopped. You are not free to leave. You are in my custody. If you leave, you will be escaping lawful custody and resisting arrest. That's the law under Section 458 of the Crimes Act, which I am entitled to enact.
I think that's your
according to the circumstances.
That would be your interpretation of the law.
Say what you want. Yeah. All right.
Well, no, but just because you say so, Mr. Freeman, doesn't mean it's right. 5th of February.
Please, then, Constable Sarah Williamson. It's now your role.
No,
Yeah, look, I can't comment on that. I don't know how citizens' arrests work, but he seems to know what he's talking about, quoting crimes acts and stuff.
Mr. Dosser and Mr.
Time to go, Mr. Freeman. The matters booked in for a hearing.
Done, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, I'll collect my papers. Thank you very much. Good job. Absolutely disgusting. Shameful. Now, the paper that you need, a document for the court, sir. I must leave here, according to law.
Well, if you leave it at the front counter, that'll...
I really don't understand the sovereign citizen movement and all the numbers and crimes acts and stuff they're always quoting. I don't know. Does it work? I know there's a few of you watching my videos. Like, so does any of this stuff that you guys quote, like I see it all the time over social media. I see, you know, you guys having arguments with the police over certain crimes acts and stuff like that. Let me know in the comment section, because I want to know. I don't understand none of them numbers and stuff like that. So all I want to know is, like, is all these arguments that you guys are having working, or is it always coming back with this kind of like result? And I mean that respectfully. Like, I generally want to know the answer to that. Do you get results from all this stuff, or is it generally this kind of result, like not getting noticed?
Okay. Because you are under the Criminal Code Act, Section 83(4), because you are using force and intimidation to interfere.
So this also might be the Myrtleford courthouse. I can't tell. They look so much. A lot of them very old courthouses look very much the same. So yeah, I'm not sure. It could be Myrtleford or Wangaratta, but they said it's adjourned till Myrtleford the next time. So I think it's at Myrtleford. Not that it really matters. But
my Australian democratic and political right to have my case heard.
Off you go, Mr. Freeman. Off you go.
I arrest you, sir, and I
Time to
arrest
leave.
you.
Time to leave.
Time to leave. Grab your papers and off you go.
So all of you police in the courtroom and magistrate are arrested according to law. This will be taken up in the Supreme Court. I'm now under duress. I fear for my safety, given that there are 4 armed criminals.
Your phone and all your bits and pieces.
4 armed criminals surrounding me in an intimidating manner. I'm under duress.
Off you go. Bye, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you for your time.
You'll be receiving your charge sheet summons.
yeah, well, there you go. Like I said, even in all the videos that I've seen of Dezi Freeman, he always articulates himself. He never speaks over the top of anyone. Once again, I'm not taking the sides, anyone's side here. All I'm saying is what the rest of the public is saying right now, is that this stuff is stinking to all high water. So yeah, once again, this is stinking to, like, this stinks. This is really starting to get bad, and it's like actually quite comical. And like, seriously, we're at day like 26 or something like that, and we still have absolutely no information on Dezi. Like, Dezi has got to be long gone. But what about that in the court case? What do you think? Do you think that looked like the poor police officer that lost his life? Because, I mean, I'll say it, like, it really did look like him. Obviously, I can't prove whether that is the truth or not, but I mean, it really, really did look like him. And yeah, once again, like, you know, he always comes across, if you have a look at all those videos with his interactions with the police, like, he doesn't speak over them, he lets them talk, he articulates himself well. And yeah, I just think that there's something very suspect going on. Like, you know, there was something going on before all this stuff happened, and that's what I'm saying. Whatever was going on, and you know, people are saying, are they looking for, did Dezi take the police officer's body worn cameras? Because that's what's going around. I don't know. Do we have any fact behind that? I mean, because that would make sense as well. And apparently he is having his own body worn camera as well, and so also apparently his 15-year-old son was recording the whole incident from start to finish when the police came to the van as well. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just, it really does stink, and I know you guys are seeing it as well. And there's just something much bigger going on here. Like, this is, yes, what this guy did is absolutely brutal. They're atrocities, and like, it's sad and it's horrible. But yeah, they've got, like, they've never done this this 3 AAA Act before, and having the ADF, like the Australian Defence Force, and the police joining forces, and you've got police from every other state in Australia. You've got police from New Zealand. And it's just funny. If you see the comments in my videos, like people are like, oh, yeah, I seen him in Fiji. I seen him in New Zealand. I seen him in blah, blah, blah. Like it's actually becoming... The funny thing is the media actually turn these people into somewhat of like heroes. You know what I mean? Like, so now the public's like, if you even have a look in the comment section of this video, you will see that, comments say, yeah, just check the comments out. There's some wild comments in there to check out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think this whole thing's like bonkers now. And yeah, it's just crazy that same judge, once again, that same judge, tried pulling corrupt stuff on me. And also in the comment section, if you have a look in the comment section, there's people saying that it happened to them as well with that same judge, once being their solicitor and then saying that, it's okay for him to be their judge when it's definitely a conflict of interest. And yeah, I just think that it's starting to stink worse and worse. Let me know what you think in the comment section, guys. I told you guys I'll keep you updated with anything new that comes out. So also a little bit of new information that only came out today is that, so when they arrested Dezi's wife, they took all of her firearms off her. So it was a couple of years before Dezi had his firearms license taken off him. He went to the Supreme Court and said that, it was unjust and it was a private attack against him. Anyway, he lost his gun license, but new information came out today that that all of the guns were confiscated off the wife, but none of those guns were the guns that were used in the incident that we're talking about. But yeah, there you go, guys. Dezi update with the court and all. And like I said, I'll keep you updated with all the Dezi updates. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You guys have been absolutely awesome. If you haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. And if you smash that little bell icon, you'll never miss any of my videos again. You'll get a reminder on whatever device you watch me on. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. Don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. Well, there you go, legends. That is episode number 1 of the Dezi Freeman updates, back from the start. So let me know what you guys think. Is that too long? Do you guys want longer ones? I mean, obviously we have to do at least 2.5, 3 hour ones. Otherwise, it's basically just like watching a video. But let me know what you guys think. Anyway, if you guys would like me to do longer ones, we can definitely make that happen. But I don't think that I'm going to make them go under 2.5 hours. Either way, let me know in the comment section. This is for you, legends. So you let me know how you want it to go, and I will do my best to get around to making that happen for you, legends. And yeah, as always, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please jump up there, shoot me a subscription. And if you smash that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. And yeah, guys, I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You've been absolutely awesome. And as always, don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. We out.